All right, what's up, familia? Welcome inside the pad. Hope you guys are doing good. Keep in between the lines. Got your load secure, man. Hey, this has been a long time coming right here, man. I got my boy from Land of Kings, Enrique. What's up, homie?
How's it going? How's it going, everybody in the YouTube Landia?
Yeah,
Send my regards to everybody. Hope they're having a
yeah,
good night.
man. You know what, big dog? Well, I first met you when Gunner and I when we did our thing, man. That's when I first met you, and we started chopping it up, man. And I'm like, what a little dog, you impressed me, Holmes. The way what we talked about, the way you speak and everything like that, and then getting to know a little bit about what you're involved in and all that, man. I was like, damn, this is an interesting character right here, man. So we'll definitely get into all that, man. But before we do all that, just let's push rewind, homie, on your life a little bit, man. And tell us, where'd you grow up at and your upbringing.
So I grew up in San Jose, kind of back and forth between north side and the borderline of the north side and the east side, like Berryessa area, in an apartment complex called Atlanta Gardens. And I guess I'm kind of like, there's nothing really new or different about my story coming up in the 80s and 90s. We all had either mom working hella hard, pops wasn't really around. You know, just I wasn't really into sports or anything like that, man. I kind of clutched onto my older cousins who were in the gang life and try to mimic them a little bit. And then I went through some, I guess you can say, preliminary steps before I hit like juvenile hall, because I was in group homes and foster homes. And then I went to my way through juvenile hall, and I kind of have like a Cool Hand Luke story. I think I was like 13 years old, and I was just a little youngster, man. And somebody said something about my girlfriend, said she was fat or something like that. So I broke his nose, and that got me landed in juvenile hall. And I went to juvenile hall where I was only supposed to do a couple of months. I got into a fight over there. Then I ended up going to the ranch. I ended up getting into like 6 fights within the first couple of months. And they sent me back to juvenile hall and gave me a YA suspension. And they said, if I get in trouble again, then I'm going to go to YA. So they sent me back to the ranch. I was doing good. I think I had like 6 weeks before I was supposed to go home. And I had hit up my name in the bathroom, and a Sureño had crossed it out. So I had went up to all the Sureños and told them, look, man, by the end of the day, let me know who crossed it out. We'll just get down one-on-one and we'll leave it at that. But nobody wanted to say nothing. So I ended up fighting one of the Sureños that was on my work crew, and I went back to juvenile hall. When I went back to juvenile hall, they sentenced me to YA. Then when I got to YA, I was only supposed to do like a year. And then I think I was supposed to go to like Carl Holton or something. And then they sent me down south to Nellis. And then instead of doing a year, I ended up pulling 5. So I bounced around from Nellis to Preston, from Preston to Carl Holton, from Carl Holton to DeWitt, then from DeWitt to Chad. And then I came home, and I was only home for about like 3 weeks. And I caught my case to a strong arm robbery to go to prison. And it was kind of like a lot of in and out. I would come out for a couple of months and then get a violation, and on that violation catch another violation. And it was just, man, it was like 15 years on the installment plan, and then till finally like around 2000, December of 2009, that's when I was like, man, that's it, I'm done. My wife was pregnant at the time with my youngest son, and I had to make a decision on, whether I was going to keep living the life that I was living and spend the rest of my life in prison and have to abort my son and give up everything else that I had worked for. And there was some other circumstances that were surrounding it that I just couldn't let go. And so I walked away from that life, and then I started anew. And that was just as hard. That was just as hard as anything else, trying to readapt to society and things like that, man. And I really didn't have no friends or family out where I was at. And so I had to kind of just pick myself up by the bootstraps. And that got me to where I'm at right now. I had run into a friend of mine who we were in our mid 30s, and he was just like, look, bro, I'm going to be a UFC fighter, man. I got it made up in my mind. I'm going to go to the UFC. Right. So I was like, hey, bro, we're in our 30s, man, and and he's like, I got it. It's my dream, bro. And I was like, well, we all got to have a dream. Right. I said, I used to box when I was younger, so I'll help you out with some of the sparring, and we can work some drills together and stuff like that. I'll help you out with whatever you want to work on. So he starts training me. We start working together, and everything's cool. We have a couple of sparring sessions, and then he says, hey, I want to introduce you to my MMA coach, right? So I'm like, all right, cool, something new. I had been hearing about MMA. He had been showing me this is what he wanted to do, but I had never had no formal training as far as like wrestling, jujitsu, judo, none of that. Like every other kid, we took a couple of lessons of karate, you know what I mean? Yeah. We got into the boxing gym, you know what I mean? I knew how to throw the leather, but I didn't know nothing about MMA. So he took me to this MMA gym, and he worked us out pretty good. Like for the first hour, he just took us through this routine that was just, it was cool. I thought that was it. But then he says, all right, now put your gloves on, it's time to spar, right? So after an hour of already strength and conditioning, then we go into this MMA sparring. And man, I'll tell you like this, bro, I had never been beaten like that for 5 minutes in my life, ever, right? So, and every which way I'm turning, man, this guy is just having his way with me, just throwing me like a rag doll, any which way he wanted. So at the end of 5 minutes, man, I said, whatever that is, I want to learn it. And I came back, and I just kept coming back day after day. And I think for like a year and a half, I was just getting whooped on, right? They used to call me uke, right? And that's the Portuguese word for like, you're the one that gets the technique put on, right? So okay. You're the dummy that they show the technique on, right? Yeah. Because like I said, for like a year and a half, I just kept coming. And every day, no matter if I was getting whooped on or not, right, I was coming back the next day. And then I made a choice to get in the cage. And then after that, I decided to stick with jiu-jitsu for a while, because my stand-up was all right. I just needed a lot more work on the ground, and having to deal with, stuffing takedowns and what to do when I get on the ground, escapes and stuff like that. And that kind of just pushed me off into the jiu-jitsu area. And I've been competing and running with it ever since. And then I started off at this gym that I'm at right now. I became the janitor. And then from the janitor, I started teaching classes. And then as I started teaching classes, I started getting into the kids' classes. And I met a friend at this retreat called, the Men's Encounter, right? And what that was, it was, to put it simply, is these guys set up an appointment for you to get with God. And all you got to do is show up. It's in the middle of nowhere with no phones, none of that stuff, no distractions. And we just, whatever it is that you've been holding on, that you think that God's trying to get a hold of you, if you don't believe religion is real or whatever, right there is that your time out to figure that out, right? So I made some good connections with some guys up there, and they planted the seed of lines in the sand. Like, this could be real beneficial for these kids, right? So what really put it in gear is when you and Gunner started the fight, right? Saying that you guys were going to do the fight for a nonprofit, that the proceeds were going to go for a nonprofit. So that was like, all right, well, let me hurry up and fast track this and start this nonprofit and see where it goes, you know? So right now, we do have the nonprofit up. I am running small classes, but we're still in the real early stages, trying to get donors, consistent donors, and kids who are really willing to go through the program all the way through, you know, because it's not just teaching you self-defense and martial arts in that sense, but it's teaching you some life skills, you know, because I found that, you know, even a good example was like the boxing ring, right? When you and Gunner had that fight, both of you guys had that opportunity to go to the corner and get counseled before you came back and fought, right?
Right.
So
right.
I'm taking that same concept, like, look, this is our time to show you how your physical fighting, so to speak, can be applied in the real world. It's just the same concept, different application, you know? So for an example, I use respect as like a strong jab, right? Okay. Because if you don't establish that strong jab, then you don't have that line in the sand, so to speak, to make this other person say, I got to respect that because it's consistent and it's going to keep me on the other side of the line, you know? And in life, it's the same way. A lot of us don't like confrontation, but we have to make the other person respect that line, right? Like a strong jab. And sometimes for some of us, we sticking that jab out all day long, and people are trying that line all day long, you know? So we have to be able to be calm, cool, and collective and hold that line, right? And sometimes when you're in real life situations, like at work, you don't see it that way. You just see it as, this guy's trying to disrespect me, I got to put him up. Well, yes, in that sense, but you don't have to fight. What you have to do is stand your ground, use your finesse, use your tact, and use your professionalism skills to express your point and let them know that your respect is commanded. Because anybody who comes out and says, hey, you're going to respect me, is never going to get it that way.
Right. Yeah.
So just little things like that, trying to find the moments during the instruction for good learning lessons, good practical application lessons, you know, like when you're training, you know, you ain't gonna be drinking at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning if you know you got to get up in the morning, right? Same thing for us, especially these kids don't realize how much they hold us accountable, you know, because I ain't gonna be going out drinking and partying and running amok if I know I got kids class in the morning. I can't let those kids down, you know. So that's a good measure of accountability that we don't necessarily recognize at times, but we hold ourselves accountable because we don't want to let these kids down, you know. And that's a good motivating factor.
You know, man, you said a lot right there, homie. You said a lot right there. That's why I was like, man, I know this about this. He's got an interesting story. So let's break it down. A lot of what you said right there, man. First off, when you said like, you know what, nothing really out of the ordinary. I've been interviewed myself, man, and I kind of say the same thing. It's like nothing really out of the ordinary. My upbringing, dog, just the barrio life, It all kind of sounds the same for the most part, man. Let's go back, homie. Where's your pops landing all this, man? Your old man, your dad.
So interesting story. So my dad met his dad in prison. Okay. And my grandfather was an old Tecato from East Los. And so my dad went to the joint for beating me and my brother when I was a baby, right? Okay. So I mean, he was an alcoholic. He didn't have he didn't have that good of an upbringing either, you know. So but the thing with my pops is his highest aspiration, like him meeting his goal as a father was for his children to know him, to know who he was, because he didn't know his dad. So for him giving his kids a better life, regardless if he was an alcoholic, if he was abusive, or any of that stuff, if he was in your life, that he was doing better than his dad, because he didn't know his dad until he went to prison, right? So after I think it was like 2000, I was on the run in like 2000, and he was staying out there with my other two brothers. He had moved out there and tried to start over. And we had a long, drawn out conversation, because I was like, look, man, I could go back for a long time. And I just want to, you know, put the water under the bridge and settle all this stuff, you know. I don't care about the past. Let's just, you know, sew this up. And I remember getting really angry with them. And he said, you know, because I told him, look, man, you had been to the joint. You had, you know, you had met grandpa in the joint. You were in Chino when a lot of this stuff was happening. And you didn't tell me, you didn't warn me, you didn't say nothing to me. Why didn't you tell me any of that? Right? And I'll never forget his words. He said, well, because I didn't know what to tell you, because you were going to do whatever it is you were going to do anyway. And the only thing I could tell you was that they don't care about you and it's all about money. Right? And at that point, it was like, okay, I got to respect that much. Right? I got to, number one, that, you know, I don't have to respect you as a man. I don't have to respect you for what you did to me, but I got to respect the fact that you're honest with me now, and that you did your best to meet your expectation of a good father. So I can't hold you to my standard. I'm holding you to yours. Right. And then after that, it was kind of like, it was crazy, because after that, my grandfather died, my grandmother died. And he was kind of like the scapegoat for the rest of the family. And nobody wanted to have nothing to do with them except me, you know. And for me, what I told him was like, look, man, you know, you've seen me come through a lot. You know, he even went to go visit me in Nellis and was tripping out because my grandfather was in the same place as I was, you know. And I said, look, you've seen me grow up through a lot of stuff. You know, you see me go through a lot of struggles, and I know you ain't got that much time left here. So this time that you got access to me, the kids, my family, or whatever. I want you to go out seeing that regardless of what happened in the beginning, I finished my life on a blessed note, you know? Right. So it took a long time for us to, you know, reestablish the relationship. But, you know, we're cool now. You know, we got a good relationship now. So
that's cool. That's cool. How many siblings you got, dog?
I got a twin brother, I got an older sister, and then I got two younger brothers.
And you got a twin brother. Hey, am I talking to Enriquez, or is this his twin brother, man?
Yeah, bro. That's why I keep the brocha and the goatee, bro. Because if I take it off, man, we look exactly alike.
All right, man. So, homie, you first picked up boxing. How did you pick up boxing?
My grandfather was a fighter in the army, and then my cousin was another like fighter, and he really pushed me into like running and training and hitting the bag, and he was like my first I guess you could say idol. He's the one who took me to like he was living on the north side. He lived in the barrio. I mean, he would always have the homies at the house drinking or whatever, but he was always hitting the bag, you know, always taking me everywhere, you know what I'm saying, introduced me as his little cousin, and he's the one that really set me on the foot on that path. And then there was a gym in San Jose off of Alum Rock, and a little like hole in the wall. It went downstairs, and if you didn't know about the gym, you weren't going there. You weren't going to find it. It was called Star Gym off of Alum Rock, and it was down in the basement. And man, it was like, man, that was a Thunderdome, bro. Right?
Yeah.
And,
yeah, you know what, man? How you're saying like you know, he was kind of like your idol. A lot of people don't know, man. But you know, when you're young, you look to somebody to look up to. Now you never say it. You never say like, oh, I look up to you. You never say that, man, but you do. I remember just it was anybody. It could just be somebody that's just like 4, 5 years older than you, right? And it's like, oh, you know what? You kind of want to be like them. And the sad thing, what you just brought up right there, man, like he would have homies over there drinking and everything. Going to boxing gym, a couple of trainers would say this, man. It's like they had a lot of great fighters come into their gym, but the streets ate them up. The streets ate them up, man. They couldn't get away from the gangs, the partying, the girls, the drugs, the drinking, the staying up all night. And if you talk to quite a few trainers and some of these like hole in the wall gyms and everything like that, I'm sure they all have that same story. Like, man, you know what? We had a lot of great fighters come in here, but the streets ate them up. The streets ate them up, man. So okay, so you find yourself in a boxing gym. What? So it was because was he boxing?
Yeah, he was doing a little bit here and there, but there was a lot of guys. So like Pinky Rivera, Double Barrel Romero. These were guys like that were around, that were boxing, that was like he would tell me about, and then I would see at the gym here and there. And it was like, man, these guys started like being the ones, and then there was some other guys that would come to the gym that lived in different neighborhoods, right? And it was kind of like the same thing. Like we're starting our careers and let's see who's gonna make it, Sometimes you would see the guys running in the neighborhood, be like, all right, he's on track. And then a month later, we'll be in juvenile hall together, like, man, what happened?
Yeah.
So it was like a little bit on and off. And then once I started my career in juvenile hall and stuff like that, I just kind of put it down.
Yeah. And it's crazy, man, because I remember you, Holmes. I remember you. I remember when I was in the ring. I forgot what round. Must have been like the third, fourth round. I'm kind of going backwards, and I hear you yell out to Gunner, keep him on his back foot. Keep him on his back foot. I'm like, damn, this vato knows what he's talking about. Let me get out of the way, dog.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man. Hey, but that was some good stuff right there, man. So once you decide, homie, to leave that life behind and everything like that, man, I mean, you're talking about that, hey, you know what? I'm gonna start a new chapter in my life for the better and everything. And you touched on how you got into MMA, but man, you started as a janitor? Like what was going on there, dog?
Well, man, jujitsu is, and MMA is very expensive, bro. I'll just put it like that. And I was like, I basically told him, look, bro, I can't pay for him. I would like to come, but I can't pay for it. I got a lot on my plate right now. I got kids, it's fun. I enjoy it, but I can't pay for it. And he said, well, I'll tell you what, you clean the gym a couple of days a week and that'll cover your dues. Right. So that's how I started off at the gym. And then one day turned into 5 days. And then when the corona hit, well, actually, let me back up a little bit. Then it turned into 5 days, and then it turned into running some of the open mats, and then helping out with the kids class. And then when the corona hit, they needed a full-time janitor, somebody who could clean after every class and all that. So that's when it really started picking up. And then that's when we had to break down the classes into a lot of different groups. So I found myself teaching more classes. And then as I was growing in the ranks, I was getting more responsibility. So before I knew it, I had been running an open mat class for like 5 years, right? And then it went to a 5 a.m. class. So now I'm teaching a 5 a.m. and a Sunday, and then helping out with the kids class. So more and more, it's like I'm constantly at the gym, getting the understanding of it and the ins and outs. And then on top of that, I was competing. So so the way I look at it is jujitsu being like my college, like my doctorate, right? So it takes about 10 years to get your black, right? Depending on who it is, depending on your instructor, there's a lot of variance, but let's just say average there, right? So by the time you get to the black, you can open up your own gym, you can run your own privates, you can run your own seminars, you know, and especially if you got competition, a background, then you're more prestigious, right? So to me, it's like, all right, every belt, I'm gonna go and compete 2 or 3 times a year. Those are my tests, right? Gold, silver, and bronze is your A, B, and C, right?
Yeah.
So I just kind of, that was like my goal, just make it to black, right? And it's just like getting my doctorate, and I could go anywhere I want from there, you know? So.
Did you ever think, dog, that hey, I'm in my 30s, like I'm too old for this, man. Like I maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
Yeah.
When you first got in?
Yeah, I did. Until I guess it was until, I guess you could say, what really flipped the switch is that the people who are out to do you harm, who do not have good intentions, don't care about your age. They don't care if you've worked all day. They don't care if you got a wife. They don't care if you got a kids. They're coming into your house. And what really, like, again, flipped the switch is we all think in the confines of our mind that we're this badass, right? That we can take anybody, right? But if if you and Gunner and me know, and all your viewers know, right? Cardio makes cowards of us all, right?
Yeah.
So you might be big and bad for an average of about 45 seconds. But what if you got to go a minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Are you really prepared to go for 10 minutes for the fight of your life, right? And if you've been sitting around eating McDonald's, Burger King, and tacos and tortas all day, you have 45 seconds. So that means that your attacker just got to weather the storm for 45 seconds to a minute before he deems you no good, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
And then he can take anything and everything he wants from you. And that's when it was like, youngster or not, right? If it comes to the point where I got to defend my life or the life of my kids and my family, I want to be confident that I could go 10 minutes or more, you know?
Yeah, you know, and the saying is always like, hey, you got to dig deep. It's like, oh, I've dug the deepest I could. There's nothing there left, man. You know, and it's crazy because, you know, I like that you say that, dog, because Mike Diaz, shout out to Mike Diaz from the Salinas Report. He got into boxing, man, and he competed at a high level in the amateurs, man. He got in when he was, I think, 30 or 31 years old, man. And he competed and won, you know, championships, man, in the amateurs, man, at that age. You know, it's just dedication and the hard work. And man, you know what? It's crazy, man. MMA, I remember when MMA first came around, I don't know, 92, 93-ish. And it was just kind of, you know, you just throw a couple of guys in there, man, that have different backgrounds, man. You got the kickboxer versus the wrestler and the, you know, the boxer versus the jiu-jitsu guy and all that. And then it upgraded and to where it's at today. Where is MMA, homie, with Raza? Because for the longest time, you didn't really see Raza in MMA too much, man. And to the best of your knowledge, dog, where is Raza and MMA?
I think they're making a good stride. There's a guy out of LA right now by the last name Rodriguez, right? Man, beautiful striker, excellent footwork. As a matter of fact, he just beat Kevin Lee. One of the best performances of his career. I'll give him that, man. Shout out to D-Rod. Beautiful striker. The 125 champ is Mexicano right now as well, the assassin. And we're really Cain Velasquez. Cain Velasquez is the one that really put it on the map for the Raza, right? He was one of the great heavyweights. Right? Yeah. So he did. If you see his fight with Brock Lesnar, you see his fights with Junior Dos Santos. Man, he really put it on the map for the Raza. But yeah, man, I really think I really think that MMA is a good venue for the raza, you know, because thing is that we all have this like kind of machismo when it comes to the boxing, right? Stand up, stand up, stand up.
Yeah.
But MMA is all the way around, right? And when they start realizing that, you know, there's takedowns, stuffing the takedowns, there's kicks, there's knees, there's elbows, and they still have that, like, what do they call it? That Mexican fire, right? Where they just keep coming like zombies, right? Once they get that technique to that level, man, unstoppable, unstoppable.
Did the okay, because I keep hearing that, hey man, MMA is pretty popular in NorCal. Did the Diaz
Yeah.
brothers blow that up a little bit, man? Did they make it pretty popular up there?
Well, I would say the Diaz brothers had a big hand in it, yeah.
Okay.
But you got to remember, you got Uriah Faber out here who had his gym. Out the what is it? Ultimate Fitness guys, which is Alpha Male, and then you had MMA Gold, which was out of El Dorado Hills, had a lot of good fighters coming out of there. But yeah, North Cal has always been like a big MMA fight community, but LA as well, you know, as a lot of those guys down like by Venice and let's see, the Gracies, they really had a good stronghold, but we didn't. I would say Uriah Faber, for the most part, is the one who put it on the map out here. The Diaz brothers put it on the map out for Stockton for sure. You know, because once they really got established with some money, they were able to use those resources to build a gym and start providing for the community a lot more, right? So once they came up, man, I got to give it to them. They reached out to the communities and made a good gym for these kids to come to. It's called the Nate Diaz Academy, Nate and Nick Diaz Academy, out in Stockton. So they got, and then but it's the thing is that it's expensive, man. You know what I'm saying? Memberships are going from like 150 to 250, right, for MMA. You know, so it's like even if these kids wanted to get involved, man, that's a lot of money to be digging in mom's pocket for. So we're trying to find these companies or these sponsors who are, you know, or looking to donate for these types of causes, you know, because yeah, I'm sure mom will put as much money as she can to make sure her son or her daughter is getting good training, you know, but if we can help that, that's what we should be doing, you know.
What got you, dog, into doing? Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing right now, man. What got you into doing that, man? I mean, yeah, I like look, man, I don't know if I really got patience, man, to be dealing with kids all the time. Although I will say I did coach my kids' sports when they were growing up, you know, football and basketball and baseball. And I'll tell you, at the time when I was actually doing it, I didn't really like it, you know, but I put 100% into it, man. Like you were saying earlier, you know what? I gave them my all because I wanted 100% back from them. And once the season was over, I look back at it and say, like, man, you know what? I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it. Yeah, man, I'd be rushing home from work and I'll be like, man, I don't really want to go, but oh well, you know, let's go. Let's do this. I'm gonna give it my all because I expect the same in return. And I was glad I did it. I was glad I did it, man. But what made you say, like, okay, you know what? I wanna help out with the youth,
Um, Raising my kids in the community that we live in, well, two parts to that. One of them is raising my kids. So my daughter, she's 21 now, and a lot of her friends have been murdered. And a lot of the kids that I used to see running around in my front yard playing, you know, as little kids coming up, man, they're either dead or doing a lot of time or caught up in this, this street politics stuff. You know what I mean? And I would say the one that hurt me the most is this kid who got shot in front of a liquor store like 30 something times, man. And he had just started coming up. He tried to do the rap thing. He was a good kid, man. For whatever wrongs he was getting into, man, I don't know. But he was too young to deserve a death like that, And that really hit home for me. And I was like, man, these, what could I do? That one. And then there was another set of brothers who were killed in the South area that really got to me, because they had lived like right around the corner from my aunt, where I would, frequent a lot when I would go stay with my aunt. So I was like, man, that could have been me. That could have been my kids, And when I started working with the kids, what really got me was the confidence building. When I see that when they would learn a new technique and they believed in their jujitsu, that they won't be as, they'll be confident enough in the skills that they have rather than be too scared and go grab a gun, right? Okay. So it's like, in other words, I want to give them the confidence to where they don't feel like they need a weapon to make the playing field even, right? Because a lot of them, they're scared. So because they're scared, they either want to pick up a weapon and guarantee their victory. They don't want to take an L. They don't want to be made fun of. They don't want to have nobody say anything about them that's anything negative, But the truth is that that's a part of growing up, A lot of these kids growing up, they didn't have it like we did. They don't play knuckles, you know what I'm saying? They don't Indian wrestle. They don't play dozens and cap on you about your mom all day. If they do that at school, they'll be like, he's bullying me, or you know what I mean? Or sometimes they don't have brothers and sisters that cause that friction, And I'm not advocating being a bully or being mean to anybody. What I'm saying is that it's a part of life. You can't go through life thinking that you're never going to get into any type of confrontation. You can't grow up thinking that you're never going to be in a fight, right? I think the saying goes, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a farmer in a war, right? So it's better to be prepared for the moment and never have to use it than never be prepared in the time that you need to use it, And it's like, and all those things, it's something hard, right? And all of us have to choose this path that we're on, and it's going to be hard, Doing YouTube, man, there's 1,000,001 people who within now and the next 5 years are going to start up their own channels, and they're going to get frustrated and going to stop, be like, it's too hard. I couldn't even get to 1,000. So I'm going to stop. Well, the same thing applies on the mat, right? We're teaching you this technique that you're going to have to do over and over and over. And it's hard, right? And then once you learn how to do it properly, then you got to do it when somebody's stopping you and they know that you're trying to do this, right? So once you learn how to get over the obstacles of things being hard and you just shut up and do it, man, you can do that through anything else in your life. If you want to be a truck driver, man, going through truck driving school is hard, right? That's homework you got to do. That's tests that you got to take. It's going to be hard, but it's worth it, right? Same thing if you want to do YouTube, right? I don't like sitting in front of a camera and talking all day long. I couldn't do that as a job, man. My hat's off to all you brothers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But man, the ones who keep at it and keep up with the content and keep doing it gradually get the views, gradually start getting the subs, and they start gradually going somewhere, right? And it's like understanding that anything that you want in life comes with a price, right? Just like that Pepsi and Chick-fil-A that you eat in front of the TV, it didn't cost you $10 or whatever. It cost you that discipline that you're giving up instead of running or working out. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's all to you. Whether you want to you're going to be doing time anyway, right? You're going to make it to 30 anyway, right? So might as well set a goal between 20 and 30 so that you can at least say that you achieved something. I think Jordan Peterson and I think Jocko Wilkes says, make your bed every morning, right? Because if you make your bed, at least you accomplish something throughout the day, you know? And if you can win your morning, you can win your day. Start off everybody knows, brush your teeth, wash your face, or take a shower, get dressed, make your bed, make sure your house is in order before you leave, right? Get your program down. And I think that once I started like trying to get that understood by these kids, then I started seeing the light bulb go off, you know? And then I started explaining to them, you know, like, especially the ones that were on this path to prison. It's like, look, man, you're going to have somebody tell you what to do, whether you like it or not. At the end of the day, you know, if you want to keep on going the way you're going, you're going to have a program and you're going to be locked up trying to find yourself ways to be free. Then you're going to come home and you're not going to be able to find the ways being free because you're locked up, but you're free.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Big time, man. You just gave some really good glitch out right there, man. And one of the things that I really like that you just said, make your bed in the morning, dog. If you make your bed in the morning, yeah, there is a completely different feeling on how you approach the rest of your day, man. And when people say like, come on, it can't be that simple. No, you get up, you make your bed in the morning. There is a little bit of a different feeling. I can't say that, hey, the rest of your day is going to be great and it's a blast, homie, but you did something. It's an accomplishment and it could make you react to certain situations in a better way for whatever comes your day, man. It's just little things like that I keep on saying, man. Hey, people, go out for walks, go out for a bike ride, go do things like that. It does make a difference on you, how you conduct yourself and how you react to certain situations, man. So, hey, man, you just give a lot of good glitch out right there. Hey, dog, let's talk a little bit about your faith, homie. You were talking about that you were going, and I don't want to get it wrong, but that you were going out in the middle of nowhere to seek faith, man. Tell us a little bit about that. Why did you choose to do that? Did you always believe? How was faith in your home growing up and to where you're at today?
So growing up, I grew up in the church. My mom was one of the original members of the San Jose Victory Outreach with Pastor Ed and Sister Mitzi and all that Duke of Earl cast. So I remember growing up in church and I knew there was a God, you know, and I knew that, you know, I knew the culture of church. I'll put it that way, right? I understood, you know, don't cuss, don't drink, don't get high, don't do none of this stuff, you know, because there's a big old man in the sky with a beard and he's looking down on you. And if you do anything wrong, he's going to take you to hell, right?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, I knew about that and I knew about the rules and stuff like that. But as I started getting older, I guess what got me was because there's a difference between religion and relationship, you know, and I didn't really understand that this person, Jesus, was a real person, right? And that he was seeking a real relationship with me, right? You know, it's like so cliche to say Jesus loves you, right? But it's the truth, you know? And what I really had to do was, okay, if this guy, let me first find so there's a book called The Case for Christ that has a really good research stuff that talks about Christ and his heritage and things like that. So that kind of led me on a path of trying to find out who Jesus really was. And then throughout my life, I have been, I had people pray for me. I've had people prophesy over me saying, I was going to be this pastor, this great leader. I was going to bring millions to the Lord and all this other stuff. And I didn't really understand this calling, so to speak. So I just stayed in the direction of trying to find out who this Jesus was. And there was a point where I had come to like my bottom, like, I think what they call in recovery, sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah.
and I would call out to them, and there would be no other explanation than the Spirit of the Lord coming and bringing me peace, coming and, I could literally feel the presence of God, So when I went up to this men's encounter, it was, again, an experience that I had longed for, right? It's like, if you hear, man, I've been hearing about Enriquez, I've been hearing about Land of Kings, and then now finally you get to sit down and talk to me, right? Now you really get to know me. Now you really get to know my character. That's how it is for a lot of people in the church. They hear about God, they hear about the things that he's done, they see the effect of what he's done, and people who believe him and know him, but they don't necessarily know him on a personal level. And when I got to know him on a personal level, it made me understand the calling that he had put on my life. Like he said, the patience to deal. So the issue with what you were talking about with patience, man, it's like with these kids, man, it's like, um I guess the way that I say things and the way that I break things down, they understand, and I like how they catch on. And with my experience and background, they understand where I'm coming from and how I use the metaphors. Like one of them that I use is, a lot of you youngsters like to, I'm doing my own thing. I'm in my own lane. You can't tell me nothing, right? But you got a screen that tells you how to dress, how to speak, how to walk, and how to act that you follow to the T. Have you ever been in a situation where you've done something and you don't know why you've done it? Well, something or someone does. And if you don't know why you do what you do, then you're just a clone, right?
Mm.
So
Yeah.
it's things like that, and it's like trying to get through to these kids, like, look, if you say you're so unique that there's only one of you and you're this king, right? Then why are you following the footsteps of so many people? And like nobody in this generation can tell me that they haven't got their dream from a screen. If you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? That was an inception by something they saw on TV, on IG, or anything. There's no original thought anymore. So
Uh-huh.
what I do is I try to provoke that thought. Because again, when growing up, if you didn't have these, you better have this, right? And if
Yeah.
you didn't have this, you better have these. But it's better to have both of them, because it's better to fight the fight where you don't have to fight than fight the fight that doesn't go nowhere. Like what I tell my kids is, what's the point of getting into a fight if it doesn't solve the problem? Because you're so angry and you're so intent on doing harm to this person, thinking that it'll make them stop doing whatever it is that they're doing. But then what do when you get into the fight and it doesn't solve the problem? That means that fight was for nothing.
Yeah. Do you believe that your faith helps you with these kids and teaching them what you teach them?
I do. I do, because um
it's it's like I see a part of me and I want to tell them what nobody told me. You know, I want to help them with understanding the things that nobody helped me understand. You know, especially when it comes to the church, because there's so much that you can take from and so much that can be abused, right? Just like
Right.
in anything, you
Right.
know, and a lot of times you got these kids who are growing up in these households where these parents are trying to get it together, right? They either come from messed up backgrounds and they're turning to church because they want a new life, right? They might not understand the relationship. They just know, man, if I go to church, I'll be better. And that's what the kids see. And sometimes they see that these people who are supposed to be Christians are just as scandalous as these gang members on the street. You know what I mean? And they're like, I don't want to be that. If that's a Christian, I don't want to have nothing to do with that. Right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's so when I speak to them, I try to tell them more about Jesus than me. You know,
Right.
don't
Right.
believe me, read the Bible. You
Yeah.
know, because there's going to be a point when you say, "Hey, you know, Uncle Cholo, is there I heard that it says this in the Bible," or "Hey, Uncle Enrique, somebody said at school that that the Bible says this." Well, let's go and look for it, right?
Right.
Let's look it
Right.
up in the Bible and see if
Right.
that's what it says. Let's break it down in the original text in Hebrew, Aramaic, Greek, or whatever, so we can find out what the person was trying to say that was in this Bible, you know? Um, and the other thing is that none of us are perfect. And just because we're trying to be Christ like doesn't mean that we're Christ. There was
Right.
only one person that was perfect, and that was Christ. And yes, we strive for that perfection, but we're just as bad as we are good, you know? So, like
Yeah.
I remember talking about this in brother Pastor Rocha's interview. You know, there's two
Yeah. I
parts of
saw
us,
that.
you
Yeah.
know, that dirty rotten scoundrel that, you know, we don't want to admit that we are, and then that really good person that we want everybody to believe that we are. We're both of those people. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
Christ helps us deal with balancing that out, you know? And I think that that's a part of what these youngsters don't understand is, you know, their justification for what they do is, why I done never did nothing to nobody that didn't have it coming. Well, who made you judge and jury?
Okay.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So,
Yeah.
and who was patient with you when you were doing the same thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who was merciful to you when you were being a knucklehead and treating people badly, right?
Right. Right.
Do you
Yeah.
believe that those people deserve the same mercy? Or do you believe that you're so entitled that you deserve nothing but goodness? And if that's the case, how can good really be good?
Man, Enrique, homie, I could talk to you for hours, carnal, but you know what? We've been at this for a minute. We've gone through a couple of technical difficulties trying to
Yes,
get
sir.
this, man. Shout outs to brother Jay, man, for making this happen, man, through the
Yes,
technical
sir.
difficulties that we've been suffering through this interview, dog. But so we'll end it right there. But before we do, man, any shout outs, any last words, anything that you want to say, man, from either, you know, company, if your tia has a taqueria, to any words to say to the youth or to even adults. You know, it's always, hey man, anything I tell youngsters, hey man, adults need, you know, lecha too, man. Just any last words, got that.
Just, you know, just shout out to all the brothers from down south, you know, LA Times, Sunny Boy, you know, all the brothers on YouTube that were doing it, man. Thank you, Cholo, for the opportunity to come and chop it up on the channel. You know, shout out to the brothers at Converse Perspective, Gunner, Rojo and Flaco, and the brother Mike at Salinas Report, Boxer, Paradigm News, you know, and just, you know, just whatever it is that you're going through in life, man, somebody can relate and has something positive to say. You know, don't go on to these Instagrams and TikToks and all this stuff and get your motivation from that, man. You know, a lot of times I see this stuff that says do whatever makes you feel happy, you know, do whatever brings you joy, you know, but pleasure turns into a punishment at some point, you know. So make sure that discipline is at the forefront, because the discipline that you use to overcome that pleasure helps you achieve your goals. And when you achieve your goals, then you begin to believe in yourself, right? And if you can believe in yourself, then you can achieve any goal that you set in front of you, you know. And as far as the faith is concerned, you know, I challenge people to find out who Jesus is, you know. Find and you don't have to believe me. You don't have to believe no preacher. If you need to dissect Islam, Krishna, Buddhism, any of those religions, dissect them all, right? But don't just cast them off without studying them, because each one of them deserve their own time in what you're studying. It's easy just to say, oh, I'm not a Christian because I don't believe in that, and never picking it up and seeing why you don't believe in it. The same thing with Islam or anything else, right? Again, I encourage the relationship, right? The relationship between you and your creator, that you need to come to that at some point in time. For the youngsters, um, I would say that, you know, that these fads and trends that you think that are hot and popular go just as fast as they come, man. You know, find out who you are and what your gifts are and how you can give back with that. Because if you're selfish and only think about yourself, the time comes when it comes back around and it's your turn, when you need somebody, that they're going to be selfish and think about themselves and not be thinking about you. You know, pride comes before destruction, and humility comes before honor, man. So, you know, keep it humble, honor your circle. You know, loyalty is a big thing. They say, you know, I say loyalism, loyal, live a lifestyle of being
Yeah,
loyal, right?
yeah,
Because being loyal isn't just, you know, I got you. Being loyal isn't just I got your back. Being loyal is saying, hey, Cholo, I know who you are as a person. And regardless of your mistakes, I love you for you and I got your back. You know, that's what being loyal is. You know, knowing, hey, this guy's going to make some mistakes. This guy's going to fall on his face, but I'm going to help him all the way through, you know? So that's my little 2 cents, brother.
man. You know what? And we're gonna leave it right there. That is my boy Enrique right there, Land of Kings, and also shout outs to Brother Jay, man. And as always, familia, live your life like you're on the road. Be aware of your surroundings and always keep a safe distance. Blood makes you related, but loyalty makes you family. Till next time, this is Ed the Cholo Trucker with my boy Enriquez, Land of Kings. Over and out.